There's just an overload of a lot of things. So I feel like there is a lot of underappreciation for any kind of art. Art takes time, art takes patience.
I feel like when I tell somebody I want to be an artist, they think I'm not doing something serious or I'm not contributing to society, which is like, it sucks. It sucks a lot. I do think to a certain extent, certain art forms are appreciated more in terms of like all arts, not just visual.
I definitely think that like starting as of lately that like photography and videography doesn't seem to be getting like enough, I guess, attention compared to some other art. Now that anybody can take a photo, that anybody can just pull out their phones and take photos and videos, that they think like, oh, anybody can do it, I can do this.
The biggest example I can come up with is fine arts versus hobby or craftsman arts. And that is to say that, for example, crocheting isn't as important as painting, and that really pisses me off. And there's also this notion that craftsman type of art is associated with feminine energy and that it's lesser because of that, and that really pisses me off.
In terms of like fine arts and like more like aesthetically pleasing and like visual arts, because with fine arts, like any person could go into like an art gallery and be like, oh, I can just do this, I can slap paint on the wall and like do a meaning. Yeah, you can do it, but like, can you give it meaning though? Can you put like yourself out there like that through using like these simple mediums that you would call it? So it's not just about like the application, it's the thought that goes into it.
I could say from personal experiences, I've been to events and like art-wise, like I asked a person about how come there's not a lot of focus on art. And I remember him saying, oh, like music is the wave right now. Like I don't really care about that. And I've seen it personally in like different events that I've been to where you'll be asked to be a featured artist, but your art's on the wall and like people just bump into it or they just touch it and look at it.
So I feel like fine arts is really underappreciated in this day and age because they only see it on a surface level. They don't actually like read the artist statements. They don't like sit there and actually think about it, besides like just looking at the piece and walking away.
Art is subjective, and so they can always see either a meaning or find something else they like within an art piece.
When they think art, they think more contemporary art, which isn't as big now. But right now what's big is like animation or illustration. That's the contemporary art. That's like the visual art that is being focused on right now, but a lot of people don't strangely view it as art. It's more of consumerism to people, so that's why they think there's like this big inequality in art.
I feel like everybody should be able to like explore everything and anything, and for me, like I see visual arts as like my thing.
I think all art forms should be considered equal. There's a different skill set that's involved from fine arts-based work, whether it's installation, painting, or drawing, which are my specialties, versus animation, where you need to have a really good understanding of movement and proportion and the body, and even color. And then craftsmanship, you really have to have an intuitive ability to be able to work with your hands. There's a whole different kind of skill set involved in each art form. And it's important that everyone kind of brings those together and converges it into one artistic identity.
The media, it's just control the people. They don't have time to feel in love with the art. Before they can go more to the art exhibitions. Right now, maybe they're sitting on the apps or whatever. So that's why, or the complicated life with the technology.
Social media, I feel like it's such a good yet bad thing for artists. Anybody who's like in the creative industry that ends up having to use social media to put out content, it's very stressful because you have to like constantly be making something or constantly keep people's attention.
Since this is what I do as a living and everything, it is a little bit frustrating when people don't think that like they can kind of just get away with like, oh, let's shoot for free. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, all right, bro, you're a doctor. Like, perform surgery on me for free, and then I'll just tell all my homies that, you know, like that you're a good doctor, and that's it. It's all about exposure. And then I read something that was like, I can't pay rent with exposure.
When there's the internet involved, I feel like a lot of stuff gets rushed.
I think the issue there becomes overstimulation of art. So for example, advertising and just media studies is another entirely different form of art, and because we're so overstimulated with that, people don't see it as special, but it's just as appreciated.
Just recently I was told that artists should stay in their lane, and I was like, word? That's what we're on? Like, as big as like a rapper could be, as big as a dancer could be, like I feel like art can be that big too. Like, you know, everybody deserves that kind of celebrity status. Like, I don't need the fame, I don't need the money, but like at least have like art be more respected. The same way that it was like, I don't know, like the times of like Basquiat and like Andy Warhol and stuff like that. Like, where is that now? So I feel like, I don't know, that should be back. Bring that back.
People need to like step back and understand how hard it is and how much work goes into it and how important it is.
Which is super important. So I do a lot of research into social anthropology, and for example, an anthropologist, his name is Goffman. He thinks a lot about our identity in relation to our interactions with people around us, and encouraging creativity is one of those interactions that can really push a solidification of social identity. And I think that's like a really important key aspect to our existence.
I just feel like everyone needs to just slow down, just relax, chill out. You know, life isn't all about rushing and having to be like, okay, like pursue being the best, but at the same time, like, if we all just slow down a little, we can all appreciate each other. And
To say art is dying, I wouldn't say is accurate. It's just evolving or changing. So as opposed to appreciating a painting, one can appreciate the design choice.
I think art will always survive. I think people know it's important. Like, whether it's subconscious or not, I think people just know. And even if there aren't people that know, there are people that want to get into art, and at the very least, those people know. So I don't think I'm concerned about the survival of art at all.
I think that's going to happen no matter what art form you're doing, or no matter what field you're in. I think there's always going to be people that underappreciate your work. And I really pay them no mind, because at the end of the day, who I cater to are people who want to absorb the information that I'm giving them and the opportunity that I'm giving them for introspection and pondering of who they are and what that might mean in the greater scheme of things. And I just don't care. So I think the main thing about art appreciation is to support your local artists. Don't just support past artists like Andy Warhol. His work was great and he was so influential, but at the end of the day, if you want another Andy Warhol, you have to look at where you live and you'll find another one.